Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode here in NHL 23. So in last episode, we basically decided to keep course with our roster and simulate the rest of the season, and we finished 45, 28, and 9. And it was kind of an interesting season, I would say, because of the fact we decided at the halfway point to move Asher Vance down to the third line, which honestly kind of worked out well. Vance finished with still 35 goals this season, which was his lowest in a long, long time, but he is 37 years old, and I'm hoping he doesn't really retire at the end of the season, but if he does, at least we know we have youngsters that could take his goal scoring ability because, for example, Johnny Hawley, he had 29 goals this year, so next season he should be a 30-goal scorer, hypothetically. And we have Dallas Bruce, who broke out a little bit this year as well for 42 goals, as you can see, which is absolutely awesome because obviously we need that goal-scoring ability if we are to lose Vance, or else we aren't going to be a good team. Also, Curtis Coburn kind of stepped up this year with another 30-goal season, his lowest total of his career, but he should be back to form hopefully next season, and maybe he get into that 40-plus goal range, or maybe he's just going to be a consistent 30-goal scorer. Regardless, he has been pretty solid. And then another player that really stepped up out of nowhere was Fred Brookbank. He was on the fourth line and had some power play time. He finished with 34 goals this year. 10 of them were on the power plays, so basically, once Vance retires, we at least know that we have 4 guys that could make up for the goal-scoring loss of him. So, yeah, it was a fun season, and hopefully we have a fun playoff run ahead. Well, kind of, I'd say, in a way, because the series is very close to being over. I was looking at basically ahead of time. If we were to go to a Stanley Cup Finals in this run that we have currently, it would last all the way up to the 22nd of September, which is almost right around NHL 24 being out. But if we are to be eliminated, say for example, up to like round 3, then we will still have not round 3, if we get eliminated here in round 1, basically we will have another chance to go at least to the end of another season, which is good, but at the same time, I wouldn't complain if we get a Stanley Cup now, and we can't get one of these last few years done. Now, I would do like a finale stream if I could, but I don't think I'm going to get around to being able to do that. We will see if I'm able to, but if I'm not, I might have to just sim the last few years myself, and then like maybe post some of the results on the community tab or in the Discord, that type of thing. So anyways, enough of me rambling. Let's show you guys what Anaheim's lines are looking like, because that's who we are going to be taking on in round 1. I believe it's the first time we've actually played Anaheim in the playoffs, because I was looking back at the old thumbnails, and I'm pretty sure I didn't see anyone that we were playing the Ducks in the first round or in the playoffs in general. So this should be an interesting matchup. They have some very solid players, but obviously we do as well. So Menino and Keeping are the 2 guys we need to contain a lot. But they also have some very solid winger depth, as you can see with Eskalainen, Potolny, Persson on the third line right wing. Kovalchuk is still not really the best type of player for a third line role, but when you have Persson there and you also have like a solid third line center, it's not really that bad. And yeah, basically we got to shut down Menino and Keeping if we want to have any chance at winning the series. Defensively, they're not really super strong, but they do have former defenseman Avery Potter there, so it's kind of interesting to see another former player. It always seems like in these later years, you always play your former players in the playoffs. And goalie-wise, they have actually a pretty damn good starter in Reimer, who's a 91, and a very solid backup in Wayne Morgan. So basically, I'd say on paper, we have technically the better depth offensively-wise, but they have the better 2 guys in terms of overall. Defensively, we have the upper hand. Goaltending, they have just barely the upper hand because of the fact Reimer's a little bit better than Tayukin is. And depth-wise, I'd say we have them beat, but they do have 2 other former players, Hutton, who's currently out with an injury, and Rodney Patterson, who is also on the depth chart. So should be interesting to see if we're able to beat them. Like I said, we've never played them before, so hopefully we could find a way to do so. We both had very similar records during the regular season. As you can see, we went 45, 28, 9. They were 46, 29, and 7. I'm pretty sure we finished with the exact same amount of points, but we won our division and they did not, so that's why we have home ice. But anyways, let's get into this playoff run and see what happens, because this might be the last time we ever see Asher Vance in a Chicago uniform. He could end up retiring at the end of the season. And yeah, then that will be kind of a big blow to this team in a way. But like I said, with the younger guys coming in that have been scoring a lot, I think it will not be as bad. as we were thinking, but at the same time, obviously, I would like Vance to get one more Stanley Cup. He only has the one when we beat the Montreal Canadiens, I think it was, and that was like over 10 years ago at this point. But let's get into game number 1 and see if we're actually able to win in the playoffs this time around. We're going to trust Tayukin because Tayukin was great this season for the most part. Let's see if we're able to do something in these playoffs as well, because regular season doesn't matter at all. Once you get into the playoffs, anything could happen. First period of game number 1. 3-0 us. That's a great start. That is probably the best start we've ever had to a playoff round in quite some time. Dallas Bruce opens the scoring after his great season. Wharton scores. He was up there in terms of leading the team in points. And Coburn scores. Let's go. The youth movement is in full effect. Wharton's not really a young guy, but Bruce and Coburn are the future of this team pretty much in terms of like goal scoring. Same with like Hawley, that type of thing. Shots are 15-8 for us after 1. We're up by 3 goals. Let's just play a good defensive period in the second and not blow this lead. Second period, still 3-0. Let's go. That's a great period. That's exactly what we need. Because honestly, like when you go up like multiple goals after 1, and you eventually allow like 2 goals in the second period, and then they start to come back, it's like really risky. But this time around, we completely lock down that period. Don't get any offense really going, but we do play good defensively. And the shots are 18-16 with a 3-0 lead for us. So they haven't had a lot of shots on goal on Tayukin, but he's been playing pretty good when he's been called upon. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we could lock this game down. But yeah, this is a good start here to round 1. Just got to keep it rolling into the next few games as well. Like, we can't just play good for one game, as Menino has broken Tayukin's shutout, penalty kill. Nicely done, boys. Oh no, Jarvis makes it 3-2. Come on, boys, hold them off. Hold them off. Hold them off. Yes, good, okay. Not, I wouldn't say the best first game because they just completely destroyed us, I'd say, in the third period. But we do win 3-2. So I will take a win for sure to start off the playoff run. All 3 of our goals came in the first period, though, so hopefully our offense isn't all of a sudden just drying up completely after that one period. But Bruce from Wharton and Nordgren, Wharton from Bruce and Burrish, and Coburn from Brookbank and Kachuk. That one is the actual game-winning goal. 3 stars of the game. Tayukin gets first star of the game, Dallas Bruce the second star, and Wharton the third star. So we have a 1-0 series lead. The question is, are we able to continue on this path? Because this team has had a lot of problems in round 1 before in the playoffs. So honestly, I would expect us to easily lose this game randomly. But at the same time, maybe this team's completely different with the new coach, with the young guys jumping up, with Vance being a third liner instead of a first liner. Who knows, maybe this is the year that this team is actually going to finally take that step forward that they've been looking for like the last like 5+ seasons at this rate. Let's keep the team the exact same. I had no problems really with game 1. Just got to make sure our offense could come back after only scoring in the first period of last game. First period of game number 2. 3-1 us. So apparently we have hot starts, but afterwards we don't score. And they have their backup in, which is interesting. Morgan allows 3 goals. Coburn again, Brossoit, and Bennett. Let's go. Nice to see the power play scoring with Brossoit there, but Patolny got them on the board. Shots are 11-8, so I don't know if their other goalie even got a chance to play net or not. It's weird. Like, I don't know if Reimer went down with an injury last game, because Morgan allows 3 goals on the first 11 shots of the game. So if they do have their starter injured, that might change the complexion of the series. But it's 3-1 after 1. Can we get some more insurance or lock down the second period like we did last game? Second period, 4-3. Yikes. We were up 4-1 as Hawley scored again. Or, well, Hawley scored his first goal of the playoffs, actually. Person scores, and Menino gets them within 1. This is a very close series. Even though we're up 1-0 in this series, they could easily be up 1-0. So, very not good performance so far from Tayukin. 3 goals on 18 shots, but their goaltender hasn't been, I'd say, much better. He was better in that period than he was in the first period, but let's see if we can try and hold them off, because the Ducks are trying to fight themselves back into this. Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. Get that insurance marker. Power play opportunity early into the third period, and we did not capitalize. Another power play. And we do score this time, and it's Hawley again. But Eskalainen once again pulls the Ducks within 1. Oh no, Keeping scores a short-handed goal to tie the game at 5. Yikes. Are we going to overtime in game 2? Yes, we are. Oh boy, not a great performance from Tayupkin. I'm going to probably still keep him in next game since he's won game 1, but not a very big fan of his performance in this game. 5 goals against on 23 shots. We've blown the lead a couple times. Like, we have 40 shots on goal and only 5 goals. Well, they have 5 goals on 23 shots, so we're probably going to keep Tayupkin in next game, but he's got maybe a bit of a short leash because he's not really the best playoff goaltender, so we might have to look into changing into Devin and seeing how Devin does instead. But let's see, can we get a 2-0 series lead? This is going to be another 1-goal finish, so this is a very close series at this point. Let's see what happens in OT. Come on, boys, let's get that one. Vance has yet to score. Can he score an OT? Penalty kill in overtime. It's a long one. I don't know who took this penalty. But we kill it off. Power play for us. We do not capitalize. Damn. The refs are giving some power play opportunities, but nobody's capitalizing so far. Power play late into the first overtime period. We didn't score, and we're going to double overtime. So that at least helped the stat line a little bit for Tayupkin. 5 goals on 33 shots isn't as bad. We have 5 goals on 47 shots. So their goaltender is definitely keeping them in it at this point. Can we find a way to get that 6th goal? We know double overtime is going to end very quickly. Let's see what happens. Come on, boys. Come on, Vance. Come on, please. Oh my goodness, this is long. Yes, we do score. And it is Vance. Ah! Let's go. Asher Vance, at 37 years old, scores a double overtime winner. Is he the oldest player in playoff history to score a double OT goal? I have no idea, but that is a major statement from the old man. 51 shots on goal, and we finally score that 6th one. And that was a very close game, but we managed to escape with the victory. So Coburn from Brossoit and Atkinson, Brossoit from Bennett and Hawley, Bennett from Gustafsson. Then we go over to the second period where we only had the 1 goal, Hawley from Bennett and Jokela. Third period was Hawley from Brossoit and Bennett, and Vance from Jokela and Brossoit. Let's go, Vance. What a way to score your first goal of the playoffs. So Bennett and Brossoit, first and second star with 4 points each. Keeping had 4 points for the Ducks, but we managed to hold them off and get that win. Let's take a look at Tayupkin's stats. Not the best, but not the worst either. He kind of was better in overtime. Only a couple plus players. Vance still had 6 shots on goal. That's crazy. But then again, it went to a double OT. Who was getting the most ice time? Jokela, Brossoit gets the most ice time out of any forward. It's funny that the old guys still get a lot of ice time. But there we go. We have a 2-0 series lead, so this is a good start for our playoff run. Obviously, we got to win in Anaheim as well. We can't just win on home ice, but that's a good start. We're only outscoring them by 1 each game, though, basically, so 9-7. Are we able to keep the momentum rolling into a game 3 is the question. We're going to probably keep Tayupkin in net for now. And we're probably going to keep the team the exact same because we've won 2 straight games. So let's see what happens. This might be a short episode if we're able to find a way to pull off a sweep, but I don't think that's going to happen because the Ducks have to steal probably at least 1 game. Here we go. Game 3 in Anaheim. Can we win on the road is the question. First period, 2-0 Ducks. See, that's what I meant. They had to at least take 1 game. I mean, we could still respond with 2 goals of our own in the second period, but that's not the best start you want. Menino scores, Eskalainen scores. Shots are 14-8 in favor of the Ducks, so I would not put that on Tayupkin. I would put that on our defense for allowing a lot of chances. Can we find a way to maybe claw back into this in the second, get at least 1 goal back, and maybe get into it in the third period? Let's see what happens. Second period, 4-1. Well, at least we did get our 1 goal, but Semen scores, Stromberg scores for them, Bennett for us. We're down 3 goals, and we're being outshot 26-12. We are not generating enough offense. We need to get going a little bit in the third period, and hopefully we can take next game, because if we don't, we're going to have a brand new series going into a game number 5 situation. So let's see what happens here. See if we can at least get some momentum for next game, because being down 3 goals, it's going to be tough to climb back into this game. Power play opportunity, we do not score on it. Power play again, and we do not capitalize on it. And then they score. Person makes it 5-1. We could easily be down 3-1 in this series, or 3-0 in this series, because because back-to-back 1-goal games, and then this one losing 5-1. I think Tayupkin is going to get yanked for next game because 5 goals against in back-to-back games is not ideal. It's not ideal. Our only goal is Bennett from Wharton and Carter. But yeah, I don't really like our defensive play over these last 2 games. So I think I'm going to make some adjustments here. Because like we could easily be down 3-0 at this stage. Because we literally only won this one by the skin of our teeth. We were up 3-0. They came back and almost got into this game. This game went forever, and they could have easily won that. So we could have been down 2-1. We could have been down 3-0. I do not feel safe with this lead at the moment. It could be also the fact that in the past we've just blown leads and all that. So let's see if we can make some adjustments here. Tayukin is, not playing good enough at the moment. So Devin is going to get the start for Game 4. We could get Laxo into the lineup potentially, or I could try and move Brookbank up and Recchi down. Because Recchi's more of a two-way guy anyways, and he really struggled to score goals in the regular season. Brookbank, we know he could score on the power play and all that. I think I'm going to keep it like this, though. Yeah, I think we're going to go with this. Defensively, maybe I should make some adjustments. Maybe that -2 is hurting us now. Let's split up Kachuk and Kaupin and move Benino up just to make it a -1 instead of a -3. Or whatever it was, -2. I could get Laxo in, but I'd honestly have no idea who I would scratch in that place, so we're going to just keep the rest of this the same. And see if we're able to take a 3-1 series lead here, because if we end up losing this game, I feel like the Ducks could win 4 straight games easily against us, because they are no slouch of a team, for sure. Okay. Wait, 2044. Wait, I was just thinking of how old I would be at this point. I would be like 48 years old, I think. If my math is right. Jesus. Okay, let's get into the next game. See if we're able to get that 3-1 series lead. Because like I said, if they end up winning this game, I think we're definitely on the back burner in a sense. Like, we need to be able to find a way to win in this next game on home ice afterwards. So let's see what happens. See if we're able to take that lead. We already do have the lead, but I want to make sure we have a commanding lead in the series that we could take a chance to end the series quicker than what it should be. Like, this could go to 7 games easily. First period of Game 4. 2-2. Okay, well, it's good for our offense, but once again, we're allowing a bit too much goals against. Menino and Ivanov scores for them. Vance scored for us on the power play, and Wharton also scored. Shots are 15-8 in favor of Anaheim, so I would not put that first period fully on Devin. 2 goals on 15 shots is better than their goaltender at the moment, who's allowed 2 goals on 8 shots. Can we find a way to get that lead back? Because we did have a lead at one point in the second period. Second period. 4-2. There we go. Bruce and Benino. So Benino scores his first ever playoff goal, I think, and Dallas Bruce has scored again. We're up by 2 goals despite being outshot by 8 shots. Can we find a way to lock this down and take that 3-1 series lead? Come on, boys. Let's just lock it down. Play good defensive hockey, and we'll be good. I might start Devin next game, too, since he's almost pretty much like a starting goaltender anyways. Clark pulls them within 1. That's not ideal. Just kill off these last few minutes, boys. Hey, Vance with a big goal, and it wasn't even an empty net goal. And then Dallas Bruce gets the empty netter as we win 6-3. So another very close game. We got outshot badly in that game, but we do double them up in goals. And we are 1 win away from the second round, which is great. Vance from Brossoit and Jokela, Wharton from Bennett and Kelpinen, Bruce from Vance, Benino from Bennett and Wharton, Vance from Hawley, and Bruce from Wharton and Bennett. I'm liking this depth score on this team. Vance, the first star of the game. Might be the last time of his career he's the first star. Dallas Bruce, the second star, and Wharton, the third star. Okay. Now the question is, are we going to be that type of team that just all of a sudden loses 3 straight games to get knocked out in round 1, or are we going to be a different type of team that's able to win and knock out this team? Bennett's currently leading the team in points with 8 points in 4 games. I'm really glad we held on to him. He's been a pretty solid pickup since a few years ago. Any teams win their series yet? Only Toronto in the East. And Toronto knocked out Detroit, which means the players we dealt to Detroit were knocked out in the first round, which is good because I don't really want to face a lot of former players because I feel like they might come back to bite us at some stage. Okay, so we are 1 win away from the second round. Let's see if we could close it out. Actually, should I go to Devin for the next game? Let me take a look at his goalie stats from that first game. I might go to him again. I might go back to Tyupkin, but Tyupkin's allowed 5 goals in back-to-back games. Yeah, Devin was good. So Devin will get the start for this next game, and Tyupkin will probably come back if Devin loses this game. Just because Tyupkin was our guy during the regular season. I don't want to be necessarily trusting a backup every single game, but it might have to happen at some stage. So, can we win this series? We have home ice here for this game as well. Can we win it in front of our fans and give us at least another round potentially in this playoff run? Come on, boys. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. First period of game number 5. 2-2. So same thing as last game. Hawley scores first for us. They scored late. It was Stromberg. But Atkinson scored literally 20 seconds later, or 30 seconds later, I should say. And then they scored with only 24 seconds remaining. So both goaltenders not off to the best starts. We have 2 goals on 11 shots. They have 2 goals on 9 shots. Is there a way that we could have a second period like last game? Because last time around we scored 2 goals in the second, and that helped set us up for the third period. But what's going to happen this time around is the question. Second period, 3-3. Oof. Another close game, huh? Similar to game 1 and 2, where there were 1-goal finishes. This might be the same thing. Wharton gave us the lead. Persson tied it up. Shots are 19-18. It's a 3-3 game. Both goaltenders almost have identical numbers at this stage. Can we find a way to get that lead again? Because we've been trading the lead back and forth with them, it seems like. Let's see what happens in this third period. Come on, boys. Come on, Vance. I know you have more goals in you. Penalty kill. Long penalty kill. Whoever took this penalty, please don't do that. Nice penalty kill there. Power play, and they scored another shorthanded goal, and they score right afterwards. Are you kidding me? We've given up 2 shorthanded goals in this first round. That's not ideal. Brookbank pulls us within 1. And that's going to be the final, though, unfortunately, is the goal that we gave up after the penalty, or the power play, ends up being the game-winning goal. So another 1-goal finish, but we are going to a Game 6 back in Anaheim, which is not what we want. So that's not the ideal finish that we had in mind, but it was still a good offensive game, at least. Hawley from Carter and Jokela, Atkinson from Brossoit and Coburn, Wharton from Bennett and Kaupinen, and Brookbank from Vance and Jokela, but unfortunately just fall short. Game 6 in Anaheim is going to be pretty tough, because if they win this game, we have our backs against the wall for Game 7 in a way. They could have easily won the series by now, though, because Game 1, like I said, that could have went to them, this could have went to them, this went to them, and then we won a game by a decent margin, and then this one they did win too. So technically we could have already lost the series despite having the lead. So I do feel a little bit unsafe, but we need to find a way to get this win here, because if we go to a Game 7, we might honestly lose the series. So I'm going to swap Wharton and Brossoit for a little bit of something different. And then I don't really know what else. I don't really want to put Jokela on a top 6 pairing. That doesn't really make sense. Either does Carter. I could try and find something that works, though. I don't really want to put Carter on the top 6, but honestly, let's just try it just to get rid of the minus. And yeah, that was not a good game from Devin. So yeah, I think we're going to go back to Tyupkin, which might be a very substantial risk, considering the fact that he's allowed 5 goals in back-to-back games, but sometimes you got to take risks, and that's the one we're going to make. Okay, there we go. Let's get to Game 6. My voice is trying to die on me already, and this is the first video I've recorded today, so I have no idea why. So sorry if I sound a little bit husky in a sense. Okay, let's get into Game 6 in Anaheim. We need to win this game, because or else Game 7 is going to be a colossal tough time, I think. First period of game number 6. Let's waste no time. 2-1 us. Okay, that's good. We do score the first 2 goals of the game. Coburn and Hawley only pulls them within 1 late. We completely destroyed them in that first period. 17-6 the shots. but their goaltender's keeping them in the game. That's not good that Tayupkin's allowed a goal on 6 shots. Hopefully he has a stronger second, because if he's having a bad game, we are due for some fireworks probably in the second period. Can we get some insurance in the second period to make us have a little bit of relief going into the third? Second period, still 2-1. Okay, that's good, but we're destroying them in shots, yet they're still hanging around, which is kind of the scary thing. Shots are 32-12. We're outshooting by 20 shots on goal, but only winning by 1 goal. So their goaltender is trying his absolute best to keep this team in the game. Let's just not allow them to get shots on goal in the third period, and we could win this game, but we do need to also find a way to get some insurance so we aren't feeling as, like, on edge, so to speak. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we can get that third goal. Power play early in the third, and we do get that goal. Dallas Bruce. What a surprise, it's Dallas. And Coburn also scores a power play goal. That's back-to-back power play goals. Now I feel safe. And it looks like we are going to be going to the second round with a nice first round victory over the Ducks in 6 games. Coburn adds another, makes it 5-1. What a series for the young guys, Coburn and Bruce. I really liked our youngsters in that first round in terms of scoring. Like, the youth movement is definitely in full effect, because like Vance doesn't really have to do as much as he used to in the playoffs. He could rely on some other guys instead, which is awesome. So Coburn from Bennett, Hawley from Brookbank and Jokela, Bruce from Brookbank, Coburn from Bursch and Wharton, and Coburn from Wharton and Jokela. 3 stars of the game. Coburn the first star with the hat trick. I didn't even realize he had a hat trick, to be honest. Jokela the second star, and Wharton the third star. Like, when was the last time we saw somebody that wasn't Vance getting a hat trick in the playoffs? Because I honestly don't remember. Because usually it's always Ash or Vance we need to trust on. But this time around, we got the young guys that did it, and we managed to knock out Anaheim in 6. And who are we going to be playing in the second round is the question. We'll take a look at that in a sec. But let's take a look at our player stats through the first round. So Bennett had 10 points in 6 games. He's been a great addition to this team. And yeah, he's up for free agency at the end of this year. But hopefully we can get a cup so we don't have to worry about him too much. Vance had 5 points in 6 games, but he wasn't even our best player. So when Vance isn't our best player, but he's still producing, that's when our team's going to be good. Atkinson didn't have the best first round, to be honest. Only 2 points for the first line forward, so he needs to be better. Parker Bursch was absolutely tragic. So that's one player that I might have to take out of our lineup. He was a -6 through 6 games. I mean, one line had to probably take the beatings, I guess, but -6 through 6 games. 2 assists is not bad, but -6 is terrible. Left wing wise, Wharton was really good, 9 points in 6 games. Coburn was really good, obviously, 5 goals in 6 games for 6 points. Hawley had 4 goals and 6 points, and Dallas Bruce had 4 goals and 5 points. So these 3, absolutely awesome. Those are the future for definitely taking over of Asher Vance. All 3 of them shot over 20%. I love it. Like, we don't have to worry about Vance retiring. Like, if he retires at the end of the season, it's going to suck a lot for sure because he's close to 1,000 goals. But at the same time, when you have these 3 that are going to be running the future of this team, at least we know that it's in good hands. Gustafson only had 1 assist, so not the best from the 4th line. Right wing wise, Brossoit was good, 6 points. Brookbank had 4 points, only 1 goal, but I mean, other guys were scoring, so it makes kind of sense. And Recchi And then Recchi was doing pretty terribly in the first round as well. Him and Bursch, really bad plus-minus. No points from Recchi. This is likely his last year in the NHL, and that's why he's playing so terribly, my guess. Defensively, Jokela was great, over point per game. Carter had 2 points. Kelpinen had 2 points. Benino, Kachuk, and Norgrenal had an assist. So every single defender had a point in round 1. Pretty good. And goalie-wise, both goaltenders not the best. Tayupkin had an okay goals against average, but that save percentage is not great. It's the grade 8 at least, but Devin was not very good either. So hopefully the goaltending numbers improve in the second round. That's the one thing. But at least we know our offense is good. In terms of plus-minus, that needs to be addressed, especially the couple guys. But we're scoring goals, and literally everybody on our team had points except for Recchi. So there's a lot of positives, but there's also the negatives of our defensive play, for sure. The question is now, who are we going to be playing in round 2? Let's see. It is going to be none other than the Minnesota Wild. Of course, it's Minnesota. I think we played Minnesota last year in round 1, right? If I remember right. They were 1-7-2 going into the playoffs. Damn, they fell off hard, but they still had a 45-33-4 record, which means they are probably the team that's going to win the Stanley Cup, my guess. I'm just saying it now. I think they're going to be the team that wins the Stanley Cup because they had a terrible last 10 games, but they still had a good enough record that they are probably a good team. We also have LA and San Jose in the second round, and then in the East it's Toronto, Florida, and Pittsburgh, Carolina. Let's take a look at this Minnesota Wild team. It's probably pretty similar to last year, but might as well take a look at it and then also see how they did in the first round compared to us. Also regular season maybe too, and then that'll be it for this episode. But this is their team. Wayne Sakic, 6 goals in 5 games. He's like a mix of Gretzky and Joe Sakic apparently. They have Jacob Pollock and Eno Kiskinen. I do remember this guy. Lane Weeks is there on their second line. Damn. Lane Weeks never would have gotten this ice time with us, and they don't really have great depth, to be honest, but they still might be a really good team. But Lane Weeks had 65 points this year. Since leaving us, he's been a pretty damn solid player, which kind of sucks in a way, but good to see him actually living up to his contract. They also have Kent Janik, Richard Krejcik, third line to Maxim Korobov, Ken Delzato, and Jimmy Cunning, and a fourth line of Pedro Aston, Cadman Godfrey, or Cademan, Stanislav Moroza. So there is their forward core. Like I said, not the best forward core, but it seems to produce apparently. Defensively, not the best either. Esa Pessinen, which is still a funny name. I think I remember him from last year. Leon Burkhoff, Amari Flynn, Pekka Pakashlati, not our former Pakashlati, but still. Ollie Varakis, and Spike Benino. So the battle of the Beninos apparently, but being named Spike is probably a leg up for him. Goaltending wise, there is Christian Chichu, and Angelo Hunt is a 58 as their backup. He only played 1 game, so they must have an injury to one of their goalies. It must be. Yes, they have injury trouble, and that's going to hopefully help us. Brent Hurd is currently one of their depth guys. Lee Marsh is currently one of their guys out with an injury. He's usually in their top 6 probably. Yeah, this guy's a very good player. Yeah, he had 40 goals this year. But he's going to miss some time here in this second round. He might be back soon. Rocky Eakin and Dmitry Vorobev, their goaltender, was injured in what game? He didn't play at all in this playoffs, so he might be back soon as well, which is not ideal. They must be paying him a lot of money. $9 million. How about Marsh? 6.28. They must have some sort of cap problems, though, and that's why their defensive core is as bad as it is. Let's take a look at how long those guys are out for injury-wise, as that's one thing I definitely want to know about. Let's see. Injury report. How long are these guys out for? May 24th and May 20th, which means they should be back during the series, which is unfortunate. One's a broken rib, one's a torn hamstring. Let's see, 20th and the 24th. When are those guys going to be back? They won't be back for the series. Okay, that's huge. That's huge. So we will not have to deal with their goaltender and their forward, but they did win their first round in 5 games, so they might be still pretty good. So there's that. Final thing, let me just take a look at how they're doing in terms of the playoffs, and also I think the regular season I'll take a look at as well, and that'll be it for this episode. I just don't want this to be too long. But let's take a look at Western Conference. Go the wins here. Let's see. So they won in 5 games. They were scoring 3.4 goals a game. We were scoring 4.17. They were playing great defensively. 2.2 goals against. Their power play has been worse than ours, and their penalty kill has been great. Hasn't allowed a single goal on 21 attempts. And they already have 2 shorthanded goals. Yikes. Okay, so they're a good defensive team, even though their defensive core doesn't look the best. And in regular season-wise, they finished 5 points back of us. We scored more goals than them. They allowed only 1 more goal than us, so they're a good defensive team for sure. Our power play was better, and their penalty kill was a little bit worse than ours by 0.1% as well. So, yeah, basically we're very close teams in a way. I think there was a stretch where they were winning the division for a very long time, but they fell off at the end of the season, and that's when we took the division. So, honestly, I feel like we're going to lose this round, being honestly. So, I don't know. I hope we don't lose because obviously the next season would be our final season for sure. But gotta hope that we can find a way to beat them and then face either San Jose or LA in the conference finals. And we know San Jose would be a very tough task. So, anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this episode of our Chicago Blackhawks franchise mode. So, in next episode, we'll take it to round 2 against the Minnesota Wild as we look to get to the conference finals for the first time in quite some time. Send anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.